Good afternoon. Myself, Dr. Ravi Kumar Poluru, Assistant Professor, working in the Department of Information Technology. So today's topic is improving software processes. So previously we have discussed improving software economics. We know that we have the 5 metrics are there. The first one is size. Next one is process. Next one is personnel. Next one is environment. The last one is quality. So these are the 5 metrics which is used in the improving the software economics. So these metrics are mainly used to minimize and to estimate the software cost estimation. So here estimated cost. So in this topic, so these are the 5 metrics are there: size, process, personnel, environment, and the quality. So the first in this, we know that the process should be minimized, or it should be a less than, not should be the greater than 1 here. So why it should be a less than 1? It means the process should be minimize the human generated code, and it should not be rework, and there is no communication overhead. So that is the ultimate goal, to minimize the process value. So if it is less than 1, then it means it can call as is an economy of a scale here. So if it is greater than 1, so we can call as this economy of a scale here. So in this improving software economics, these 5 parameters are mainly used to estimate the cost here. So here among this, the first the topic we have seen that reduction of a size. So what is the main constraint to minimize the size? So we need to verify about how to minimize the size. So the size can be measured with the help of SLOC or with the help of functional points. So these SLOC or functional points mainly it is used to measure the software cost estimation, and we need to check that which programming language we are going to implement here. So here we have the higher order languages. So we know that higher order languages such as the assembly, the Fortran, and C, C++, ADA 83, ADA 95, and Java, etc. So we have seen that when you are using the higher order languages, these are the programming languages, and compared with the SLOC, this assembly language is taking the more SLOC. And when you are implementing the ADA 83, so ADA 83 compared to the assembly, ADA 83 is minimize the SLOC, that is source line of code. And whereas the ADA 95 compared to the ADA 83, so the reduction of the source line of code is minimized here. And compared to the C++ in Java, they have reduced the size of the SLOC. So that's why mainly we need to verify which programming language is used to minimize the source line of code. Okay, and it will be mainly impacted the object-oriented concepts in the higher order languages. So when you're considering these object-oriented tools such as, so mainly we can take the case tool or Visual Basic. So these are the main object-oriented concepts which will be mainly used to represent. So these will be minimizing the reduction of a size, so that here we can reuse and we can minimize the size of the software here. So in this, when you are using the case tool, there we can have the UML diagrams, so that there we can assign the forward as well as the reverse engineering. So with the help of the object-oriented tools here, And next one is reuse. So this is the ultimate advantage of improving the software economics. So no need to write the code from the scratch onwards. So with the help of the reuse, so we can minimize the code, we can reduce the code of the size, as well as the components we can have to minimize so efficiently with the help of the reuse concepts. And we have seen that the commercial components have the advantages and the disadvantages, mainly when you are using this commercial component. So now in the modern tools, so there we are using the 70% for the components and remaining 30% for the tools which are using. So it will be very helpful to improve in the software economics. These are the main metrics to improve the software economics. Now today we'll discuss how we are going to improve the software processes. What is meant by process? So process is nothing but we can call as the overloaded term. Why means it depends upon the different criteria where we are going to implement this process. So that's why we can call as the overloaded term here. So here for the software oriented organization, so we have the many processes and we have the different types of the sub process are there. So this process is divided into three types: meta process. So this meta process, the first one, meta process, is mainly used for the organizational policies and procedures and practice for pursuing a software intensive line of business. So this is mainly focused for the organizational economics and long-term strategies to obtain the software return on investment. So this meta process is mainly applicable for the organizations. What are the policies they are going to provide and what are the procedures to handle and practice for the software intensive line of business. So the ultimate goal is to gain more profit in the software. So we have the meta process models is mainly used to increase the productivity of process engineers and improve the quality of the models they produce. So by using the meta process based upon the policies and the procedures and the practices, it will be increasing the productivity and the process engineers. So and it will be impacted the quality of the models. So we have the different types of abstraction level for process. So the first layer we can call as the process meta level. So in this process meta level, mainly it will be dealing with the generic concepts. In the second level, we have the process model, how the way it will be working in the process. And the last one is the development runs. So by using this development runs, how it will be impacted and what will be happen for when you are using this process. So here the next one is the macro process. So macro process is mainly used for the project policies and procedures and practices for producing a complete software product within the certain cost, schedule, and quality constraints. So the main focus of this macro process is creating an adequate instance of the meta process for a specific set of constraints. So mainly this is used for the projects. So what are the projects they are going to do and what are the policies, the procedures, and the practices may be used for the complete software they are going to generate, and they are going to verify about the cost, schedule, and the quality constraints. So here the main so they are going to check what is the specific set of constraints in a macro process. Next one is micro process. This micro process is very tiny and it will be mainly applicable for the project team policies, procedures, practices for achieving an anti-craft of the software process. So this micro process is achieving the intermediate product baseline to provide the adequate quality and functionality of the economic. So this we have the three different types of the process. So that is meta process, macro process, and micro process. So which will be mainly used in the software process for improving. So we have the in this table we can have different types of the attributes where this meta process, macro, and micro will be impacted. The first one is objectives. These objectives of the meta process is mainly used for the line of business to provide the ultimate profitability for the organization and competitiveness. So this will be having mainly the competitive between the different types of the organizations and for the market. Next one is macro process. So macro process, they're taking the project profitable, how much the project profit are they gaining for the organization, and what is the risk management, like project budget, schedule, and what is the quality of the project. And next one is micro process. So there, how many iterations will be performed. So there, they're going to verify about the what is the resource management. So what are the different types of the resources they are going to allocate for the team members, and risk resolutions. So whenever they're doing the project, what are the risks are going to happen during the for the team members, and how they're going to overcome this risk, and milestone budget, schedule, and quality the project. Next one is audience. Who is the main target for the meta process? The meta process, the target is acquisition, authorities, and the customers. The ultimate goal for this meta process is clients as well as the customers. This meta process is mainly applicable for the organizational management. And macro process is having the software project managers. So there it will be going to deal by the software project managers and software engineers. So this in the macro process having they're going to have the audience such as the project managers and the engineers. So here in the micro, so sub project managers, it means the team leaders and the software developers, that is software engineers. And what are the metrics we are going to use for the meta process? The metrics for the meta process is project predictability and revenue. What is the revenue they're going to earn, and what is the market share for the organization. So they're going to predict while they're going to consider the projects. And for the macro process, the metrics are the on budget and on schedule. And this will be mainly success for the milestone of the measure for the projects. And they're going to verify about the project scrap and rework. So whether they need to check, they need to do the project from the scrap, or they need to rework of the project. And for the micro process, we have the on budget and on schedule. The ultimate goal is for the to achieve the milestone progress of the team members. And here, whenever they are going to release the software, there, what are the iterations of the work and the scrap? So whether they need to do the work from the scrap, or they need to do the rework of the software of the projects. And for the what are the concerns when you're considering as the meta process? So we have the bureaucracy versus standardization. So they need to verify about the what is the main difference between for these concerns. Whether we need to improvise the quality of the meta process for the organization. And for the macro process, they're going to check the quality and the financial performance. So what is the quality of the project, and what is the financial performance during this project? And for the micro process, we have the content versus schedule. So what is the content progress by the team members, and what is the schedule we are going to verify. So we need to verify about the concerns about the team members. And what is the time scale for the meta process? So we have the time scale duration of this from 6 months to 12 months here. For the macro process, we have 1 year to many years. It depends upon the project, how they're going to handle. So whether it will be considered as the 1 year, or it may be 2 years, 3 years, or it may be depends upon the quality and what is the problematic in the process. And whereas in the macro process, so they are going to consider from the 1 to 6 months. Okay. So these are the 3 levels of the process and the attributes. So we have in the improving the software process. So here, to achieve the success in the software projects, so mainly we need to check the what is the complexity of the sequential and the balanced. So we need to check the successful metrics to achieve for the software projects to complexity have in the sequential as well as the parallel. So for all the projects, process consisting of the productive activities and overhead activities. So they need to check that mainly what are the productive of the different types of the process, and what are the communication overhead happens during the activities. So when you're considering these productive activities, so these results are in the tangible process. So to the end products. So when you're considering this one like prototyping, modeling, coding, debugging, and user document. So this can be easily we can sense and we can have these different types of the prototype and modeling of the as well as the coding, how we are going to debug and have the full well documentations to the users. Uh, the next one is overhead activities. It is an intangible means when you're considering this end product, this can be plan preparation. So this we can have the in detail of the plant preparations and the documentations, progress monitoring, risk assessment, financial assessment, and configuration control, quality assessment, integration testing, and late scrap and rework, management, personal training, business administrations, and various tasks, etc. So this will be we cannot some this will be impact of the end products. So these are the main which will be affecting the overhead activities during the software process. So in these overhead activities, so not only that we have the value added efforts. So there we need to have how much effort we need to keep these efforts to have the activities, and more effort can be used for the productive activities. The main objective of the process improvement is we need to maximize the allocation of the resources. So we need to allocate the different types of the resources to gain the more productivity and to minimize the overhead activities. So it means we need to provide the efficient resources to gain the more productivity, and so very less of the overhead activities. So for the personal computers as well as the schedules. So some people may be offended by, so it may be have the different types of the category such as the late scrap and the rework, and depends upon the training how they are going to have. So when you're giving the proper training, so the overhead activities can be minimized. So it depends upon so that this rework and scrap will be minimized. And here we have the scrap and rework is a productive necessity. Why means we need to resolve the innumerable unknowns in the solution space. So for this, so instead of finding the later of the life cycle, so we need to understand in the LIS test so that to provide a good process and to avoid this unnecessary what we are having after the later phase of the life cycle. So training is mainly ultimate goal to improvise for the organization responsibility, not a project responsibility. So training is essential for the team members and the software engineers and the software developers. So any project manager who bears the burden of a training people in process, the technology, the tools is far worse off than a project manager. So it means we need to provide a quality of the training to the workforce so that the rework scrap will be minimized here. So staffing every project with a fully trained workforce may not be possible. So there we cannot provide the full efficient 100% of the training facility for the fully trained workforce. So we need to verify about the employing trained people. So is always there. So we need to check that what is the trained people who are there better than the employing the untrained people. So that for the projects mainly we need to check that employing the trained people is always better than the employing untrained people. So here the training is not considered for the value added activity. So we need for the staffing every project, we need to check that the trained people will have sufficient for the projects. And the quality of the software process strongly affects the required efforts and therefore the schedule for the producing the software product. So how it will be achieving the quality for the software process. So we need to check that what is the effort and what is the schedule for producing the software product as a quality. So in practice, when you're checking that good process and the bad process, so mainly it will be affecting the cost. How much it will be varying? So it depends upon the whether we are using the trained people or the untrained people. So if you are using the trained people, we can reduce the cost. But if you are taking the untrained people, the cost estimation will be doubled or it will be tripled. So estimation cost estimation by 50 to 100%. And how we are going to reduce means we need to improve the overall schedule. So we are taking the trained people here. So we have the three dimensions for the schedule improvement. The first one is efficiency improvement. The first improvement is we need to improve the efficiency. How to improve this efficiency means, so we need to consider the efficiency of each step. So when you're considering the end step, so we need to check that what is the efficiency of the each and every step. So by providing the optimizing individual steps, so that your overall process more streamlined and effective. So each and every step we need to verify and provide the efficiency to providing the software process. The next one is step elimination. So we need to check that what are the unnecessary data are there. So if it is any unnecessary steps are there, so we need to eliminate the unwanted or unnecessary steps from the process. So by removing the eliminating the unnecessary process, so that it will be transferring from the end step to the we can transfer from the end step process. So reducing the complexity and resource requirements. So when you are trying to reduce the unwanted process here, so that it will be very easy to transfer the data from end step to the end step process, so that the complexity will be minimized and the resource requirement also will be minimized. The last step is the concurrency and the resource utilization. So here we need to use the resource in a efficient manner, so that the concurrency in activities or utilizing the resources efficiently. So if you want to achieve the throughput and responsiveness, so we need to use this concurrency and the resources very efficiently. So many organizations, they are going to check that time to market improvement. So they are going to verify about the what is the strategies of the market, how they are going to improve this different types of the techniques for the from the starting. So efficiency of the improvement from the starting numbers. So these are the main steps to improve the schedule improvement by considering these three dimensions. So here we have the we have seen that efficiency improvement in the first step. In the second step, unwanted or unnecessary process has to be eliminated, so that to achieve the concurrency and resource utilizations. So this organization has to be verify about the what is the target of the market. So time to time they need to verify about and to utilize these resources very efficiently. So here the primary focus of the process improvement is the solutions. So we need to check that what is the adequate solutions are there, and to minimize the number of iterations and eliminating the downstream of the scrap and the rework. So here we need to minimize the number of iterations and we need to reduce the scrap and the rework of the data. So the process improvement will be happen when you're trying to minimize these iterations and the scrap work in the process. So here, and next one is here. So every instances of the rework is having the a set of tasks that must be redone. For example, if you are taking the team completes the sequential steps of analysis, design, coding, and testing. So we have the another features which are not covered that we can have the design falls in the testing. So we need to check each and every step in a proper manner. And here, sequence of redesign, recoding, and retesting must be happen when you're having the flaws in the testing. So these task sequence are the primary abstractions for the schedule compression. So if you schedule the 2 years or the 3 years for the project, so we are finding the some fall during the testing, then again we need to do the redesign. Means we need to alternate the architecture and we need to rework on the coding part, and again we need to do the retesting so that it will be have the more schedule. So instead of 2 years, it will be, it goes to the 2.5 years, or it may be 3 years. So we need to check that breakthroughs, and we can eliminate the complete process steps. The primary impact of process improvement is reduction of scrap and rework. The ultimate goal is we need to minimize the scrap and rework. So instead of identifying in the later phases. So the perfect software engineer is mainly check that what is the solutions and what are the development teams or experienced engineers, and having the adequate resources, and dealing with the common stakeholders, the common goals, and execute this software development process in one iterations, so that there should not be have any rework or the scrap during this stage. So this is the best way to have the improvement of the software process. So here we know that in this world mainly we have the different scrap and rework is the ultimate for the which will be impact uh, for the worst conditions. So if it is not impacting, then we are going to gain the win conditions from the stakeholders. So we have the different steps of the premises for the improvement of the process. Improvements are there. So around 10 improvement process will be there. The first one is assessment and analysis. So how we are going to deal this different types of the analysis means we need to check that thoroughly the current software development for the organization. And the next one is what is the assessment, how the development methodologies, tools, and the technologies for the team dynamics, communication channels, and project management practices will be happen for the assessment and the analysis. And here we need to go over the data through the surveys and interviews, observations, and analysis of project documentations and the metrics. And to strengthen the areas, we need to identify the what is the strength and weaknesses in the current process, and including the bottlenecks, inefficiencies, and common pain points experienced by the teams. So we need to identify the what is the strength and what is the weaknesses of each and every process during the stages. And the next one is we need to define the objective and the goals in a proper manner. So we have seen that the project manager must be have the quality of the SMART. SMART is nothing but specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So this will be clearly defines the objectives and goals of improving the process. So the project manager must have the SMART, means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound of the assessment of the project manager. So this must be objective with the broader organization goals and strategic priorities to ensure the process improvement contribute to overall business success. So mainly it depends upon the project manager and the experts of the team here. And we need to, the third one is we need to select suitable methodologies and practices. So they should be have a clear idea about what are the methodologies and practices for the best fit in the project requirements and team compositions and organizational culture. So they need to check what is the best fit and the worst fit, so that to gain the best practices. So the project manager has to be verify about what is the main requirement of the projects and the team compositions and what is the main culture, the policies, procedures for the organizations. Next one is implement best practices. So here to improve the main projects, so we need to have the best practices such as the continuous integrations and continuous deployment to automate the build, test, and deployment process. The next one is we have the test driven development. So these tests are mainly written before the code, so promoting the better code quality and test coverages. This TDD is mainly used to how the test have we are going to have the some written code for the different types of the test will be given for the code quality, and different types of the coverages will be happen, and code reviews will be having the knowledge sharing, identify the defects early, and maintain the code quality. So these code reviews will be mainly gain the knowledge. So this knowledge has to be shared with the team members and identify any flaws during these early stages only, and maintain the code quality has to be maintained here, and agile practices has to be maintained regularly, and to have the planning and stand-up meetings and sprint reviews and retrospectives to promote the collaborations, transparencies, and adaptability has to be happen for the best practices for the organizations. And the fifth one is investment in training and skill development. So provide training and skill development opportunities for team members to enhance their technical expertise, software skills, and familiarity with new methodologies and tools. So during the training, so the project manager has to be give the more opportunity to improve the skills for the team members, and to provide them more technical experience and expertise, and have the soft skills, and they need to cope up with the new methodologies and the tools to gain the more knowledge for the good employments. And training programs can cover the different methodologies like agile, specific programming languages, versions, control systems, automated testing frameworks, and project management practices. So these are the main training programming while they're giving the training to the employees, and they need to encourage the continuous learning. So continuous learning will be how impact to the organizations and experimentation, and to allocate more time for continuous learning and providing the efficient resources for the professional development. Okay. So here the next one is utilize tools and technologies. So we need to utilize, the team members has to utilize appropriate tools and technologies to support and streamline software development process. So such as we have the automated testing tools. So nowadays we have the automated testing tools will be there. So whereas the less intervention of the human generated code, we have the testing tools such as Selenium, JUnit, JTest, or the automatic repetitive testing task and ensuring the code quality. And the next seventh one is, so we have the we need to have the different types of the metrics and key performance indicators. So mainly we need to use the relevant metrics and key performance indicators to measure the effectiveness and performance of the software development process. So here we have some example. The first one is cycle time. What is meant by cycle time? So time, it is time taken for the task, or can tell the story to move from the starting to the end stage, or we can call it as the completion of the task here. And next one is lead time. So lead time is nothing but here the task or user story to move from the backlog to the production. It's from the stage. So where we are going to use this task from the beginning to the production stage. And defect density. So in the defect density, so they need to identify what are the number of gaps or the issues or the defects are identified per unit of code or the functionality. Next one is velocity. So velocity is nothing but the amount of work completed by the team in each iterations of the sprint here. So these are the main regular monitor and to analyze metrics to identify the trends and areas of the improvement and the potential risk will be, these are the metrics to improve the software development process. The next one is encourage collaborations and communications. So here we have the foster a culture of collaborations and transparencies and open communications within the team and with stakeholders. So there should be have the clear communications between the team members, the project manager, as well as with the stakeholders, and encourage frequent interactions, both formal such as the meetings and the stand-ups and informal like water cooler chats. So this will be mainly gain the knowledge and problem solving and elegant. So these are the main to encourage the team members to gain the knowledge here. So we have the use collaboration tools and platforms to facilitate remote work and asynchronous communications and real-time collaborations. So when you are using these different types of the tools and platforms, so that it will be very easy to work remotely and have the real-time collaborations work from anywhere, so that the clear communications will be happen between from the team members. The next one is iterate and continuously improve. So we need to check that the continuous improvement and iterations will be performed like regular reviews, and it will be reflect the effectiveness of the software development process. So we need to give the continuous feedback from the team members and the stakeholders to identify the improvement, further improvement in the future or during the stage of the project development. So here the experiment with the new ideas and methodologies and practices will be willing to adapt and evolve based on the lessons learned and changing project requirements. So here the best practices is like we need to review like quarterly, oftenly or annually, and to give the continuous feedback and to incorporate the new ideas and methodologies and practices, so that the requirements will be easily learned during the stage of the project and changing the project requirements. The last one is the provide leadership and support. So we need to provide the strong leadership and support for the process improvement initiatives. So when you have the strong leadership, so they're going to have the continuous support for learning and providing the new ideas and methodologies and providing the more practices for the improvement of the process improvements. So next one is here, ensure that stakeholders are engaged and supportive of the changes and that necessary resources including the time, budget and personals are allocated appropriately. So the stakeholder has to be very supportive. So when the changes will be happen during the project, so these changes like resources and schedules has to be changed, and the cost also will be varied, and we need to hire the different types of the good people. So they should be allocated properly. So these stakeholders and the clients has to be cooperative when the changes has to be happen. And here the lead by example. So we have the demonstrate commitment to process improvement and empower team members to take the ownership of their work and contribute to the improvement of the software process. So these are the 10 main metrics for improvising the software process. Okay, so these are the references I have referred for this topic. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.